My name is Stephanie Olarte. I am a resident of Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and my representative is Carlos Tolon. I'm actually here supporting Bill 5127, and I am opposing I'm opposing every other reproductive bill that is on the table. I am, for myself, I will say that I am for the reproductive justice bill. As a woman of color, as a disabled woman, I think it is really important that we consider this bill to be passed, because we are a community of undeserved and minority groups that are the most impacted when it comes to reproductive justice. But I'm also here to read a testimony of Elizabeth Matheson, who is a woman that couldn't be here today, and so I would like to read her testimony, if you allow me. So, dear Chairman Craven and members of the Judiciary Committee, my name is Elizabeth Matheson. I live in South Kingstown. My state representative is Teresa Tansey. I'm writing in support of the House Bill 5127, the Reproductive Health Care Act, RHCA, in opposition of Bills 5125, 5114, 5198, and 5199. I support the Reproductive Health Care Act because there was once a 14-year-old girl who, after being taken to an uninhabited island in the bay, was raped by a man twice her age who she thought was a friend. That girl told no one and threw herself against a sharp-cornered table over and over and over for days until bruises appeared in her abdomen. And she felt sick. She didn't want to be pregnant. She carried on, lived her life. 5 years later, at 19, she decided it was time that she could engage in sexual activity with a college classmate who she fell in love with. They got tested for AIDS, then got birth controlled, and after some time of dating, became pregnant. They were a birth control fail rate. After weeks of careful consideration, prayer, consultation with trusted family members and doctors, she decided terminating the pregnancy was best. Her boyfriend agreed, but he was cheating. It was a difficult decision and one of relief. The clinic was clean, she was safe, she carried on and graduated summa cum laude. 20 years later, and that woman was married to a good man, and they planned to expand their family. She had a miscarriage around 8 weeks. Not meant to be, not a viable embryo, the doctor said. But she wondered, had she eaten something wrong? Did that hurt the baby? Maybe listeria? Was it a maybe baby? Who would know? Not even the doctors. No doctor could pinpoint the actual date of conception, so she carried on. That woman at 40 tried again and had a wonderful baby. Then another miscarriage, then another wonderful baby. And the woman is nothing special, just a regular Rhode Islander who lives privately, keeping her medical business to herself. That is until now, because this woman sees a threat looming on the horizon. The threat that some government members may make rules that maybe babies can ruin real lives, create criminals of doctors and steal privacy and degrade all our daughters' futures. The threat that the idea that the maybehood would be calculated as more important than personhood, that...
Stephanie, we're over 3 minutes, so if you could wrap it up,
I'm
please.
almost done. I know you've kept going, some people, so this testimony is quite important. The mystery and the messiness and the miracle of reproduction that occurs within a woman's body would be used to make her body her government domain. At one time, her bodily autonomy and privacy was codified, but it was now at risk. So this woman wants her state to acknowledge the threat to personhood, to protect the status quo of Roe versus Wade via RHCA, to take the stand. This woman also notices that threats contain at its core legal precedent, so maybehood can be defined and stewarded by government, making rules that legally imply that the woman does something imperfect and miscarries. She could become suspect of criminality. Who's to say? Could it be government what it wants to say, or could the government instead say something that protects citizens' safety and privacy and liberty? I'm almost done. This woman sees that the threat of Roe versus Wade could take away her access to safe and private medical care all at once. Maybe this is because some don't believe in smart, thoughtful women like her or myself, or trust her or trust in nature. Maybe some also don't trust Rhode Island, a place founded of the protection of the individual freedoms. With this threat, maybe a woman with late carry health issues would have to prove her need and innocence that applies the right to the DNC.
Thank you, Stephanie. We're at 5 minutes.
I'm just going for one more minute. It's
Testimony
a few
is so
sentences.
important, and a lot of people have been waiting.
But you've let people talk for like
So-
6-7 minutes. So
so
one
we
more
have to
minute, it
move
won't
on.
hurt you.
I'm going to take Representative Kazar now.
Maybe she would trouble finding the doctor to help her when she was raped. Maybe she would have the overseas or carry the state lines to appropriate medical care. Maybe she should have had a lot of extra money just because she's a woman. What if she doesn't? Or maybe that woman, and thousands of other regular women can just throw themselves against tables if they were afraid and can't find a doctor or worse. So please, pass the RHCA.